Here, everybody, Spectacular, the Silver Stacular, here to remind you about something I've been talking about since the beginning of my journey of stacking and collecting precious metals. It's to buy what you like. I see a lot of dealers out there, both local coin shop dealers and people on the internet who have become dealers, trying to sell you in things that are, in my opinion, not the greatest option to get into. And sometimes a story can make you want to buy something that you normally would not buy. And so I think you need to focus on things that you enjoy. It's important to buy what you like and not something that just, is interesting for a moment because of a quick story. And these are some examples right here of things that throughout the years I've picked up. Actually, I just did a Whatnot show last Friday. And a very nice show, by the way. If you didn't go, I'm very sorry that you're anti-Whatnot and you missed out because I ended up giving away 4 grams of gold. 4 grams! 4 grams. It was an awesome opportunity for people. And so if you did get one of those grams of gold, I would love you to shout yourself out right here just so people can know that I'm not fooling them. It was a real thing. But it was a great opportunity. If you haven't really checked out Whatnot, super cool. Auctions, buy it nows. I'm on there selling. We can chit chat and I can offer you pieces that I get. Make sure you check the description down below and use that link to Whatnot, and you can save $15 off anything on the entire app, anywhere, with me, with somebody else, or buy it now, an auction, whatever you want. It's a $15 discount as long as it's your first time using the app and you are a first-time buyer there. It's a great opportunity. And anyways, long story short, on Whatnot, right? This was a question that came up, and I talked to somebody, and I was like, when I buy, I'm buying things that I'm interested in, that I enjoy. And then naturally, I think that other people probably enjoy these things too. But I'm not the kind of seller that goes, oh, I just know that I can make a bunch of money on this right here, and so that's why I'm going to buy it. No, it has to interest me because this stuff may not sell, right, for the price that I want it to sell for, and there it has to go back into my personal collection. And any of the things that I end up offering, I'm usually very happy to go ahead and put them back into my personal collection. It's not a problem. Here's an example right here of something that, although I don't normally like to get this kind of stuff, and I'm pointing at this big giant slab over here. Let me show it better. I don't normally like to get this kind of stuff only because space has become an issue lately for me. And so I kind of shy away from things that are large. It is super stinking cool. Here's the Fitzgerald's Nevada Club Reno Hoard. And this is a nice little 3-piece set. The slab's massive. But this is an example of something that my eyes were drawn to. I was like, man, this is just so stinking cool. So cool. Such history right here. But yeah. This is something that if I had to hold on to it, okay, not a problem. Not a problem holding on to that and keeping it. That being said, I also have this belief that eventually, and I've talked to the wife about this before, I said eventually everything will sell. There's nothing that, is going to stay by stagnant in our hobby for too long as the price is right. But eventually everything does move. And it's just interesting, right? But that being said, my whole goal has always been to stack and collect, but as I'm doing that, I want value in what I'm collecting, right? I just don't want to collect. I don't want a bunch of random countries that nobody really cares about collecting coins from. It's not really been my goal. I don't want if there is a time where I need to sell things, I don't want such an obscure collection to where I really, really have to tell a story or drive it home in order to sell it. I want stuff that, I enjoy looking at, I enjoy having in my collection. And at the end of the day, if, I need to sell it, if I'm trying to liquidate something or all things, I can do so pretty expediently. I want to be quick about it. And I don't want the stress of, I got to sit on this because nobody's going to want this stuff. And these things on my table are examples that I would never have a problem selling to this. You might not know everything, just like me, right? I don't know everything out there, but there's a collector and a large collector base for just about everything I have here. In fact, not even just about, it's literally everything I have. The Balboa's fan favorite. Everybody loves that. Spanish gold. People love those. Pillar dollars. People love those. Vintage silver bars. people adore those like crazy. Got a couple of those here too. Art bars, big time collectibles out there these days. It's crazy. You know, even though it's worn out, 1916 obverse mint mark, Walking Liberty half dollars, junk silver and numismatic U.S. coinage is huge. It's not going anywhere, you know. Speaking of, you know, awesome coinage, Libertads are bigger than I have ever seen since I've been in this hobby. You know, it's funny, this coin right here. I loved it since the beginning, the Libertads, especially the old style, the larger, thick ones with the edge wording. You know, it's something I've found love for very quickly. And so to see it take off so strongly in our hobby, and people love these things so much, and they pay a disgusting premium for them, if I do say so myself. You know, me too, right? We all pay the premium. But it's just so interesting to see how well and how much people love those particular coins. So it's neat, right? And of course, nuggets are huge right now. People are loving their nuggets. Yeah, loving their nuggets. Story of my life. You know, buy what you like, but you know, don't fall for the hype. Don't fall for the story. Unfortunately, I see that a lot, right? People, you know, will come up to like a live auction, and they'll be like, oh, what is that? And the person tells them this whimsical story about how cool it is. And I'm sitting there, I know it's not cool. I know it's a hard sell, but they hear that short story and they're just like, boom. They did no research. They're just trusting a quick story and they're swiping their credit card, you know? Do a little research first before you start getting into something new, I'll say, you know? Don't be just fall into the hype of something. That being said, this is a little show-off video right here, huh? For some cool pieces, for sure. Love the pillar dollars. I've loved those since I began this hobby. I remember going to coin forums and talking about collecting, right? Well, here's some right here. Some wheat cents. Talking about collecting wheat cents. And I remember walking myself into the pillar dollar community on these forums and just seeing these cool Spanish coins, right? These really just neat pieces of history. And I was like, man, they're just so cool, but they're out of my budget, right? I'm a cent collector. I can't get into these crazy pillar dollars. But eventually, you know, you grow up, you maybe get a raise or two in your life, and you can say, hey, now I can buy a pillar dollar. Isn't it wonderful? Anyways, buy what you like. Moral of the story, buy what you like and don't fall for the hype. I see a lot of people pushing it. And, you know, people make a business on this, right? This is not my lifestyle. When I go sell on Whatnot, if I sell on my website, wherever, it's not make or break. I don't have to push the story to anybody. I haven't quit my day job. Let's just say that, right? Some people, though, that's their day job, trying to sell you on the story, trying to learn about coins so that they can sell you on the story and get rid of their inventory. And that's just the way this hobby is. You know, I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but that is how it is. You can counter that by doing your own research. And, you know, unfortunately, these videos, they might go to 8 minutes, right? We might be on close into the 9 minutes right here. And there's a lot of information throughout the video that's really important for you to hear. You really need to drive this into your head, these things, to remind yourself that when this happens to you, when you're watching somebody and you hear that story, you go, wait a minute, settle down, because I don't need to buy this thing. I don't know anything about it. Maybe it's not good. You know, it just sounds like a whimsical story. And hopefully people that have watched this long, they go like, oh yeah, a little reminder there. I got to chill out. I don't need to buy everything. I need to focus on what I like. Anyways, I got to go for now. I greatly appreciate you all for watching, and keep collecting, man, because this is such a fun hobby. There's new things coming out all the time. Almost every single day, it seems like there's new things coming out. And I find myself too almost falling in love with things that I normally wouldn't fall in love with just because of the story or how interesting it looks, you know, or it seems. And then I got to settle down a little bit and go, okay, let me go back to what I believe in. I got to go. Spegtacular is out. Well, hello, everybody. I seek to educate and entertain through my journey of collecting coins and stacking precious metals. I encourage you to subscribe and please stay with me on this journey. I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular. You know, when I was a kid, we did this every day in school, and I believe we need to bring this back a little bit, and I'm going to start right now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.